Chad Moyer with you here on the Rural Radio Network. It is time for our Fridays in the Field segment. It's brought to you by FNBO, the Great Big Small Bank. And we're in Howells, Nebraska, visiting with Jeremy Svitak. Jeremy, thanks for joining us here today. We caught up with Jeremy as KTIC is doing some spring breaks, so we brought food to him and his family here in the Howells area. Jeremy, thanks for visiting with us. First of all, tell me a little bit about the spring so far. How did Green Up go for you guys? What was it like in the Howells area in Stanton County this spring?
So spring's been actually pretty good. Started out almost the end of February, and that with some nice weather. We got a bunch of fertilizer and that put on really early this spring, and basically we're caught up and ready for everything. We started planting the 22nd and 23rd of April into some really good conditions at that time, a little dry, and then had 2 weeks of nice weather where it rained and that, which was great. We needed the moisture, and now we're sitting in a time frame where kind of need to keep moving with planting, and we're catching some more nice rain, and there's more forecasted for this weekend and that, and hoping to get some weather in that to keep moving with planting too, though. So it's kind of a double-edged sword in that nature.
Yeah, Jeremy, isn't it interesting that we're talking about planting delays and we're actually having to worry about something that we haven't had to worry about in 3 years, right?
That's correct. We've had pretty good weather in that, and last year was plenty dry, but yet planting conditions that were great. So,
all right. Well, let's talk about corn and soybean planting specifically. Kind of give us the status. Where do you sit right now in terms of corn and soybean planting? How far along are you?
So we started planting corn early on in that 22nd, 23rd of April. We got, probably about 15-20% of our acres in at that point in time, and switched over to soybeans, and we are almost basically, if the weather holds today, we should be able to finish up beans today. If not, after this next rain event, we're about half day from being done with beans. So sitting pretty good on the soybean side, but a fair amount of corn acres to go.
Yep. All right. How about things like your fertilizer program and weed control and things like that? How have those things gone for you this year?
Fertilizer went great. Like I said, we had very early that we were able to get and put our dry fertilizer and anhydrous and that on. Good conditions for that. It wasn't wet in that time frame. Now, since we planted that corn and started soybeans and that before the 2 weeks of wet weather, kind of been a little more difficult trying to keep up with the sprayer and get everything sprayed. We got a couple fields that are soybean, or one field of soybeans that's coming up now. So we're going to have to kind of change our program up a little bit there. Obviously, the herbicide that we were going to plan on using on there is a pre-emergent only. So it's Nebraska. You got to just keep rolling with the punches.
I was going to say, you'd be able to pivot when you have to, right?
Yeah.
So I guess overall, as you kind of think about it, where you're at now compared to the last few years, 3 to 5 years, how do you feel about the spring so far, Jeremy?
It feels good to have the moisture. That's a huge thing. We're 100% dry land on all of our acres. So, we are totally rain fed. We need the moisture. Coming in this year, we've been dry. The drought monitor showed that. It's definitely in a lot better position today than it was 3 weeks ago. So we'll take a 2-week delay on planting and take the moisture instead. So for that part, we're pretty happy. So,
all right, very good. Well, thanks for taking the time and visiting with us. Appreciate it, Jeremy.
Thank you, Chad.
Again, we've been visiting with Jeremy Svitak. He is from the Howells area in Stanton County, and he is our guest on today's Fridays in the Field segment. It's brought to you by FNBO, the Great Big Small Bank.